Welcome back to Crystal Clear! I'm Oshrak Vox, and an alluring aspect of Steven Universe Future is the narrative tendencies to reintroduce elements from the original series. Things that either did not have enough time to shine in the original, or were forgotten about completely. Like the bubbled Rose Quartz gems or the purpose of a lapis lazuli. We always wanted to know more, we always wanted to see more, but it wasn't until this limited epilogue series that we actually get the chance for those things to be fully realized. That being said, there are elements that Future has yet to reintroduce. Old locations and characters we have yet to see. And in terms of location, a place that I feel still needs some kind of narrative closure, a sense of finality to its appearances, is Rose's room, which is not just the former living quarters for Steven's mother, a world in itself that allows Steven to manifest replications of his friends and family. The duplicate's behavior depending on Steven's perception of the one being imitated. Of course, with its ties to Steven's mother, there's always going to be a sense of emotional weight to this location. But what if, while tying up all the loose ends from the original series, Steven Universe Future provides us a direct farewell with Rose's room? Expanding upon Steven's notion of everyone leaving the past behind them, what if he winds up destroying Rose's room for good? By accident, but the damage is done. Let's talk about it. Of course, spoiler warning, if you do not want to know any potential plot lines for Steven Universe Future, please click off now. With all that said, let's dive in. Now, what got me thinking about this was actually a YouTube comment under one of the few remaining Steven Universe clip videos with the comment still enabled. A suggestion that read, "Oh my god, I was just thinking, and I remembered Steven's room in the temple. What if he goes into his room and creates the townspeople that have all left him? What if he starts to create a fantasy in there that everyone loves him and needs him, and tell him that they never leave him and stuff like that? Like he did with the plants, but worse." And ooh, creepy thoughts indeed. And at this rate, that does sound like something Steven could potentially do. But the more I thought about it, I think a scenario like that could happen. But I don't think Steven would just prompt himself to go into the room to live out a fantasy. I think that's a scenario that would slowly unravel from another objective. It's clear the gems want to talk to Steven and understand what's going on. Why he's been acting so weird and clearly in distress, but bottling up his emotions to severe consequences. And we know Steven's also not having a great time from bottling everything up, holding back how he really feels from everybody. So perhaps Steven considers talking to someone, whether if it be his father, whether if it be Connie. But he has no clue how to even express how he's feeling. He does not want to attempt to express how he feels, in fear of coming across as nonsensical, that what he's feeling is irrelevant to everyone else's problems, or more so the problems that would appear as a result. That's when it occurs to Steven. Maybe I can convey my feelings a lot better if I have practice, if I speak to someone or something that I know won't go back and regurgitate my feelings out to the gems. So Steven travels on over to his mother's room, creates a replica of whoever he plans to talk to, the underlying issue here being that the responses of the replicas would correlate to how Steven is feeling about himself in the moment. If deep down he wants to be told something that'll make him feel better, the replica would sweet talk him. But if Steven is afraid of hearing the worst responses possible, then without realizing it, he's going to influence the replica to tell him those horrible things. Maybe even both. For example, if Steven initiates a simulation hoping to feel better because of it, the replica is going to tell him what he wants to hear. That his behavior lately is justified, that he's not doing anything wrong and the world is just being unfair to him. He doesn't need to face his problems because he has no problem to fix. This pleasant conversation inspires Steven to create replicas of more characters, more and more of the people in his life that he's afraid will abandon him, and slowly delude himself into thinking that his toxic mindset is actually healthy. Before he realizes it, Steven creates a full-on simulation of Beach City, or Little Homeworld, or Homeworld itself, wherever the case may be. Something that Pro stated in the self-titled Rose's Room episode would be way too much for the room itself to handle. And we already saw how crazy the simulation crashes can be, but I believe Steven would be so blinded by this facade that he wouldn't even notice. He wouldn't even realize he's in a simulation. He would completely forget all about the framing of this being Rose's room. He would be sucked into this fantasy that everything's okay, that no one's going anywhere, people aren't moving forward with their lives, and he doesn't need to either. But what I believe could be the catalyst to the simulation breaking, what would end up being Steven's downfall in this scenario, is the replication of someone he knows he can't have an easy conversation with. Whether that be someone like Jasper or Pink Diamond herself. Steven may have simulated his mother before, but that was when she was Rose Quartz. Now that he has the big picture, what would he do and say to his mom now? The one person he still needs to form a full opinion on. And I believe it would be this projection that would turn the tides on everything. Once the projection begins telling the things Steven doesn't want to hear, things that still wouldn't be true, or at least not completely true because they would be grossly exaggerated to make Steven feel bad about himself. Words that he's really thinking coming out of the mouths of others, as more and more of the duplications begin regurgitating these hurtful words. Upsetting himself, I can only imagine that would trigger some kind of breakdown out of Steven, shifting into his pink form as a result. And without trying to break your heart too much, just imagine that. Steven surrounded by a circle of his loved ones who are just regurgitating these false ideas about him. That he is pitiful, that he is pathetic, that he's nothing without his friends, that there's nowhere to go beyond this. He hasn't just peaked in life, he's lost his purpose in life. That he's meant to spend the rest of these days with this empty feeling that he can't move on to anything else. Steven's anxieties, the awful thoughts in his head that he has to fight, they would be kicking him while he's already down. But with those destructive pink powers, I could easily see Steven unleashing another disastrous wail that not only disrupts all of his projections, but would physically damage the room itself, breaking Rose's room and causing it to implode permanently. Rose's room would be destroyed, and Steven would be left in a position where he's put off even further from the idea of opening up to anyone, which would be following the trend of these recent episode conclusions, slowly shifting from bittersweet to just bitter, and driving Steven farther away than ever from help. But my sick thoughts aside, what do you guys think? Will we see Rose's room function one last time before Steven Universe Future comes to a close? Or was its brief cameo in Snow Day all that she wrote? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at Vlogs. We're also on Instagram. Special thanks to JANKYBONES for creating an awesome thumbnail. For more of their amazing art, you can find them on Tumblr at JANKYBONES, Twitter and Instagram at BoneJanky, and subscribe to their YouTube channel. Link in the description. Help Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. JANKYBONES, signing out.